Hey there, my name is Daniel DiPiazza, the instructor of Start Your Side Hustle with Foundr magazine, and this is my story. I believe that most people in business get into business for a reason outside of just making money. Because as you know, money is just a means to an end. Money is not necessarily a means within itself. It's just a tool that helps you get to something that you want. For me, I wanted to express myself creatively. And I don't really think I've talked about this too much in the different videos and the different things I've shared over the years in my content. I am originally a filmmaker, and I've always been fascinated with making movies and doing things creatively. Over the years, I've written books and done mixtapes and produced workshops and live seminars and done a speaking tour and all this stuff because I love performing. And I had this urge after college to get out there on my own and to create something with the world and share it. Now, let's take you back in the time machine. If you're watching this, it's 2021, and in my time machine now, we're going back to 2010 when I was fresh out of college, and I had my first post-college piece of life in Atlanta, Georgia. And in Atlanta, well, they have a pretty good secondary film market, is what we call it here in the US. Prime film market's gonna be in LA, secondary film markets are in places like Georgia, where they have great tax benefits and you can just shoot pretty cheaply and do good work that people will see. I moved up to Atlanta and I was going on different auditions. I had an agent at the time, and I'm not gonna lie, I was frustrated with it. It's cool to be able to get little bit parts, and obviously I'm extremely attractive, so it wasn't hard for me. but I didn't have any control over the results I was getting, mostly because when you're an actor, you're at the beck and call of these producers and of these casting directors. That's why they call them casting calls. And I was wondering, how can I take more control over this process? How can I, actually take ownership of the work I'm doing rather than wait for other people to put me on? Well, it came to a head one audition, and I went to an audition for The Walking Dead, and they had me in the glorious role of zombie number, XYZ. It wasn't even a speaking role. It's a zombie role, not speaking. So I'm going in for this audition, and they asked me, to do my best zombie impression. Granted, I'd never watched the show at that point. So my impression of a zombie was more like a Frankenstein impression. I had my arms like this. They didn't like that zombie impression. And I remember seeing the frowns on their faces and realizing that I hadn't quite hit the mark. And I thought to myself, if I can't play an undead creature with no lines and no name on a national show, I'm not doing this anymore. I gotta figure out another way, man. They weren't impressed by me, and I wasn't impressed with the amount of control I had over my destiny. So here it comes back. Again, control. How can I get control? So I said, you know what? I'm not gonna wait for someone to hire me and give me my SAG card. I'm gonna go and make my own movie. And that's what I did. That's where the first spark came for me, was realizing, I could take control of this. And I looked online, and at the time, SAG, which is the Screen Actors Guild, had a contract that you could create called the SAG New Media Agreement. Now, in 2010, new media, which is essentially what I'm doing right now, filming this YouTube video, filming this digital piece of content, was a new thing. And people were just realizing that we can create our own films now using these different types of agreements, and you can actually make yourself part of the Screen Actors Guild just by shooting and producing and directing your own film and putting yourself in it. That's a hack. So what I did was, I decided to produce my own film, and I raised money for it. I went out and I went to family and friends. I, threw little get-togethers trying to get people to understand the cause. I wrote this script. I developed the whole thing and I produced it. And it was about $13,000, $15,000, so it was the most expensive short film I've ever produced. But it was so worth it because it taught me the business of filmmaking. And it gave me a very valuable insight into the fact that once I took my own destiny into my hands, I didn't have to wait for someone to call on me. I could get it on my own. Well, then I thought, I want to make more movies and I'm going to need more money, and maybe I should get good at this thing called business. And that's when the spark came for me. The art needs to have a business component attached to it for it to be accepted by the market. If it's just art, people will sometimes take it, but oftentimes leave it. Or they're not gonna appreciate you until you're dead like Van Gogh. I don't wanna be Van Gogh, I wanna be Tarantino, fill in the blank. So how do I get my art out there? I need to understand the market and the marketplace and marketing. How do I understand that? Well, I have to learn business. Now, of course, this is all in retrospect, all in hindsight. At the time, when I was absorbing all this information, I was producing this film and I was still working at a restaurant. Now, at this point in time, I didn't have a business idea. I didn't have some sort of Jeff Bezos moment where I'm like, the internet's all moving towards, the world's all moving towards the internet, and it's progressing at this pace, and if I just keep building, then I'll have, I didn't have any of those like aha moments, but I did have the experience with making the film now. I did understand that there was a way for me to get things done on my own. I thought, what are some skills I have where I can take something I know in my head already, and I can apply it to create money for myself outside of a job where someone else is paying me. How can I do it for myself? Filmmaking at that point was not a profitable thing for me. I lost some money on that, but I learned some business things. But what I did find was profitable in me was a skill that I had, pretty much since high school. I'm the type of guy who I will get frustratingly good scores on standardized tests with minimal amount of studying. And it's not really a praise to myself. It kind of has only aided in my procrastination. Don't try this at home, but it has helped me get scholarships and things like that. And one of my big accomplishments in high school was getting a great score on the SAT. So even in high school, going into college, I started working with a company called Kaplan. Now, Kaplan is a test prep company that helps you get good grades on these tests, these standardized tests. And I realized, this is a skill set that I have that maybe I can apply. And so, basically, I banked on myself. I decided to go out and learn to get clients with this skill of test prep strategy. I call myself a test prep strategist. And I built up this client list. And the cool thing about this was, just like every other thing in entrepreneurship and in your journey through mastery of different areas of life, you'll see patterns and you'll see stepping stones. Of course, I started with taking a skill that I'd gotten from a job where I was previously being employed and flipping that. Even thinking back to my experience with Kaplan, before I'd understood that I could do this on my own, I always had this innate knowledge that I was getting paid $18 an hour, but I know that Kaplan was billing parents somewhere between $100 and $150 an hour for me to be there. And there was always the disconnect of, if I'm providing the majority of the instruction, if I'm providing all the follow-up with the parents and the students, if I'm doing, 70% of the work, and Kaplan is doing the majority of just bringing people to the doorstep, then I should be getting a better, equal split of this interaction. And I knew that I wasn't getting my fair due, and I thought, well, even if I didn't work as many hours, if I was getting paid more per hour or more per client, it would work out for me. And so this knowledge grew into my skill set for finding customers and building businesses based on skills. And it served me tremendously through the years. Over the course of, a decade-long career, a little bit more, I've done lots of different things in many different industries. So I started off learning film production, moving into the education space, moving into the consulting space, then eventually working inside of larger companies, larger startups, building startups of my own, selling them. I bought a few companies here and there, all this across the time and space of learning these new skill sets. And it started with this fundamental idea of understanding that I could get on my own. I could do it for myself. That's really the spirit of hustle, right? It's this self-empowerment that says, you know what? I'm the only thing I need to make this a success. And that's what I really want to imbue you with, this confidence to know that you really have all you need. And in order for you to be successful with your side hustle, you just have to do what I did. You have to find or develop a skill that the market will pay you for. You have to nurture that skill and then nurture those people who come across your path. Give them great work and watch that snowball into something that might seem small right now, but is honestly going to pay off huge for you in the long run, because this skill set you're building of finding and acquiring clients using the side hustle system that we teach inside of the Foundr course is probably one of the most valuable things you'll be able to learn now that will continue paying off. And so for me, it was one of the biggest insights, one of the biggest ahas, understanding this concept. Now, you're probably asking yourself, I would be asking myself if I were in your position, why should I trust this guy? I mean, he has a beautiful Jerry curl. It sways to and fro as he moves his head, and I love it. But why would I listen to him about business? And that's what I would encourage your skepticism to shine a light directly onto my free masterclass. We produced this together, Foundr and I. We produced a free masterclass that's going to teach you how to start a side hustle profitably and quickly. And let me just tell you this. The great thing about having started my career, as a teacher is that I get to come back to my roots. I started this whole journey of my own, learning how to market my skills as a test prep instructor. And now I look back on those experiences and realize that I've actually used my experience as an instructor, as a teacher from way back in the day to categorize and to make it much easier for you to understand and for me to deliver the information that it's going to take for you to successfully launch this business of your own. And I haven't just tested it on myself. I've tested it on hundreds of students at this point, and it works. And there's bragging, and then there's just observing the truth. And I encourage you to observe the truth as well. So check out my free masterclass with Foundr. I think you're going to love it, get a ton of value from it. And you know what? Feel free to email me or to leave me a message on social media. Let me know how you enjoyed it. So I look forward to hearing from you soon. And that's all I got for you now.
Hey guys, hope you're loving our videos and that you're getting heaps of value from them. If you are, make sure to hit the like button and make sure to subscribe to join the Foundr fam. If you did enjoy this video and want to continue to master your skills, make sure you click here to access your free training now, where we'll go into way more depth with this founder.